Meredith, I want to go over your draft. You did a good job on your narrative, bringing all three of those pictures together. I'm going to use the review and track my changes. Right here, he was anxious to see if he could kill any. We need a noun after that. Any's an adjective. We need a noun after it. If he could kill any doves is what you want to say, I think. Kill any doves. He was anxious to see if he could kill any doves. And then you have Wesson gently crouched behind a single hell bay and pointed his loaded gun at the air. Let's say in the air. I like the way you ended this one. So this is your first picture or your first scene, and you left it someone was out there, but you didn't tell us who, and that was a good ending because it left an unanswered question and it had a suggestion of something bad might be happening, but it left something hanging as you ended that scene. And I like your use of dialogue. This right here was the only dialogue that I didn't see that was indented correctly. We switched our speakers here because up here is Wesson and here is Calvin. So that just needs to be its own paragraph. And here where you have this stumbling speech, you use the three dots to indicate and put a space between them to indicate that the speech is broken. And I think those were all of the mechanical errors. Oh, there's a couple more actually. There was another dialogue. Please don't call the cops, Wesson. I swear I didn't damage anything. I'll leave right now. I mean it, Calvin blurted out. Weston was about to reassure Calvin that he wouldn't, but then he stopped. Wait, how did you know my name? And so we have a change there in our dialogue in our speaker. You probably don't know me though. I was kind of a nobody. We've got a comma splice. So the best way to fix that is a semicolon. A semicolon is the same as a period, but we can use it when we have two closely related sentences, like those are very closely related and you wanted to put a comma. Just use a semicolon and that way we don't end up with any splices. I do not know why it keeps doing that. Let's try that one that time. That was all the mechanical errors. And it was you did a nice job on it. And I like your ending. Wesson didn't see Calvin's face on his way to school again, assuming that the flyers got taken down and he didn't run away. But the one thing I want you to work on correcting in your story is Calvin went back to the same old situation. You're going to have to resolve Calvin's situation for me to feel good about the story. Wesson's situation, he was having problems with his parents at the beginning, and his situation improved with his parents because he appreciated them more after talking to Calvin. But all Wesson did was take Calvin back to a bad situation. And so you're going to have to come up with a way to solve Calvin's problem too. Um, there's a variety of ways to do that, and I'll let you use your imagination to come up with it, but I'll give you a couple of suggestions. You could take Calvin back to Wesson's house and introduce him to his parents, and they all go speak to Calvin's parents, and maybe we have a scene later where they're all together eating at Calvin's house, and Weston's parents have kind of mentored Calvin's parents, or create that bond somehow. And so that Calvin situation's improving, because when I read it, I'm like, man, Calvin just went back home and the things were so bad there that he ran away. What's to keep him from running away again? Or how do we know the reason he didn't see his face again was his parents murdered him? So you're going to have to, and I know that's extreme, but you're going to have to resolve Calvin's problem too. So just work on resolving that. That's probably going to require you to put in another scene. I think the easiest way to do it is to have Wesson take Calvin home and let him meet his parents, and then they all go and talk to his parents. And maybe luckily for Calvin, Wesson's dad is a school psychologist, or some way that he could help the parents. And then let's have a scene where Calvin and Wesson are together and their parents are together and everything's okay. So just work on that resolution for Calvin. Everything looked really well done, and there were very few mechanical errors. Just one little story thing that needs to be tied up. So work on that and get that back to me next week. That's the end.